Hi, everyone, and welcome to another art lesson with Miss Chloe. That's me. Thank you for joining us today. We are going to be doing another fall art project, and this art project is titled Fall in the City. So the materials you're going to need are a pencil and some paper, and also your colored pencils. So go ahead, get those materials together, and we can get started. All right. So as you can see, I've already gotten started here. I've written the date and my name at the bottom. And since this art project is a landscape art, we're going to start off by drawing our horizon line right in the middle of our paper. Remember, the horizon line is the line that separates the sky from the ground, also the background from what's called the foreground or the front. So go ahead and draw your horizon line in the middle of your paper, okay? And now we're going to start drawing a little mini cityscape in the back, okay? So at the top of your paper. Start by drawing open rectangle shapes. These are going to be your buildings. Open rectangle shapes. You can do big ones. You can do small ones. Skinny ones. Open rectangle shapes. We're making a little outline of a cityscape in the background. The background is the stuff that's going to be above the horizon line in the background. Cool. All right. When you've drawn your city skyline or cityscape outline in the background, I want you to find the middle of your paper on the horizon line. Find the middle of your paper on the horizon line and go ahead and just make a little dot there, just a little mark, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. You don't need to measure it. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to grab one of your colored pencils. I'll choose you. And you're going to use your colored pencil to help you to draw a straight diagonal line coming from this middle point on your horizon line. Okay. So you're drawing a diagonal line coming from the middle point of your horizon line all the way down to the bottom of your paper. And you can use your colored pencil. If you have a ruler, you could use that too, but I'm using my colored pencil. Okay. And then you're going to do the same thing, except the diagonal line is going to go in the opposite direction. So you're kind of making like almost a triangle. Right. Great. So now you have two diagonal lines coming from the middle of your paper here. All right. So we're going to imagine that this is like a city street coming from the city into the foreground or the front. This is the front of your drawing. And we're actually going to create objects going from the background to the foreground. As objects appear from the horizon line to the bottom edge of your paper or the foreground, the front, they get bigger. So we're going to draw some trees coming from this, what this is called the vanishing point. Okay, it's where a point gets so super tiny that you can't even see it anymore and it vanishes. Okay, we're going to start by drawing little Y shapes. And you can see I've got a super tiny Y right here at the horizon line, super small, you almost can't see it. And then I have a slightly bigger Y here. And as we travel down the page, our Y shape gets bigger. So you're going to be drawing bigger and bigger Y shapes. And this one's so big that the bottom of the Y actually goes off the edge of the paper. Great. Let's draw some more on the other side. Excellent. So now you have 2 rows of Ys that get bigger as they come closer to the bottom of the page, to the foreground. Who can guess what these Y shapes are going to turn into? If you guessed Y-shaped trees, you're right. So let's start making some leaf shapes around our trees. We'll start with the big ones first. And another reason we're starting with the big ones first is because these trees are in the front or the foreground. And so they're not hiding behind any of these trees. These trees are behind these big trees. You'll make the leaves getting smaller and smaller and smaller as they get closer to the horizon. You almost can't see them. And then do the same thing on the other side. All right. Once you've created leaves for each one of your Y-shaped trees, you can start making a couple more Y-shaped branches coming out of your tree if you've got space here. And maybe you might do a few more Ys in the second biggest trees, and the third biggest. But after that, I'm going to stop making Y shapes because these two are so far away, I can't really see anything but the basic Y that we started with. Beautiful. All right. I see that I have a little bit of space on either side of my artwork. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create maybe a lake in the background. Maybe I might even draw a Y-shaped tree next to it. But this white space here, this blank space, you can use your imagination and you could actually add anything you like. I'm going to add a couple more Y-shaped trees though. Great. So now we have our city skyline. We've got our road coming out from our horizon line and into the foreground. And we have 2 rows of Y-shaped trees that get smaller as they get closer to the horizon line. Excellent. Now we're going to get our colored pencils and we're going to start filling in our trees. Now, think about the time of the year. What color might these trees be? It's fall in the city, autumn in the city. So what colors might we use? Maybe we might use orange. And when I'm filling in, I'm going to zoom in here. When I'm filling in my trees, instead of using like a back and forth, I'm using a sort of a curly shape, like spirals, because that looks more like leaves to me. And that's the way that I'm going to fill in my Y-shaped trees. I'm going to fill them in with shades of orange, red, and yellow. I'm going to add a little bit of red. Just to mix it up a little bit. So go ahead and fill in your trees using your colored pencils. And I've chosen an orange, a red, and a yellow that I'm going to use to fill in my trees. Okay, so I finished coloring in my Y-shaped trees with different combinations of red and orange and yellow. You can see I used a little bit of extra yellow over here. Now I'm going to grab a brown colored pencil and I'm going to start filling in the trunk and the branches of my Y-shaped trees. And here's where you'll get an opportunity to make those Y shapes look a little bit more like branches and not just like a letter Y. Make them a little bit thicker here. Make them look a little bit more natural. And you'll notice that as the trees get smaller and smaller, you almost don't even need to like outline them that much. Just a little bit works. They're so tiny. You just need like, bloop, just a little tiny bit. And I see that I forgot to fill in the top of this tree. I'm going to do that right now. Beautiful. Okay. Grab a black or a dark gray colored pencil. Let's outline our road. This is our city road or our city street. Cool. Now we're going to start at the top of our road and we're going to put just a little dash. These are going to be the marks that you see in the middle of the road. Okay, so this is just a dash. Then underneath that dash, you're going to put a little bit of space and then a tiny rectangle. Okay, and then the rectangle is going to get bigger and bigger. And then finally, it's at the biggest here in the foreground at the end of the page. Cool. Now go ahead and fill in the area around your rectangles. Leave the rectangles white. Don't fill in the rectangles, but you're going to fill in the area around the rectangles. You're going to fill it in with your black or your gray colored pencil. Nice work, everybody. Now we have our city skyline to fill in. And maybe if you've drawn a lake over here or something different, maybe some more trees, we're going to take this time to fill in these areas. I'm going to start by outlining, before I fill this time, I'm going to outline my city with a purple colored pencil. So find a purple colored pencil and let's outline the outline of our city skyline. Okay, I've outlined my city skyline with purple. I'm also going to outline our horizon line with purple as well. And you'll notice that I created a space over these tiny trees and the vanishing point instead of going over it with my colored pencil. Okay then, now it's time for us to fill in our city skyline. And the way we're gonna do that is we could use our purple colored pencil, or you can go ahead and grab yourself a purple crayon, because I feel like large spaces are easier to fill in with a crayon. So you can use your colored pencil if you want to fill in with your colored pencil, or you can grab a purple crayon and fill it in that way. Now, if you are going to use your purple crayon to fill it in, you can actually, before you get started, go over the edges. Because crayon, it's hard to get those edges in. You can go over the edges of each building with your colored pencil first. And that way, when you go in with your purple crayon to fill in your skyline, you won't go over the lines. You won't go outside of the lines as easy. So I'm just filling in the tops of my buildings that might be trickier to fill in with crayon. I'm just getting in there with my purple colored pencil. You might notice I used two different colors of purple, a blue purple and more of a violet purple. It's nice. It's nice to use two different colors when you're filling something in. It adds more detail. All right, so you can continue filling in your city skyline with your purple colored pencil, or you can grab a purple crayon and fill it in that way. Okay, I filled in my city skyline with purple. And now I'm just going over to some of the little blank spots, filling them in a little bit darker, a little more fill there. Cool. Now, we still have all of this area to fill in. And I'm going to invite you to use your imagination, okay? Usually we might fill the ground in using maybe a color like green for grass or brown for earth. But I invite you to go ahead and choose a color that you might not always see coloring the ground. So maybe you might use a different color than green or brown. Maybe you might fill in your ground using a blue. Maybe you might fill in the ground using a red. Maybe you might find a different shade of purple and fill in your ground using that shade. If you want to use green, you can use that too. I'm going to let you decide which color you use to fill in the ground in your beautiful fall cityscape, your city in the fall. Nice work, everybody. I'm so excited to see your beautiful artwork. Please don't forget to post your art to Seesaw. And thank you for joining us today. I'll see you all real soon. Okay, bye.